Palma. Oh,
man.
that's unfair, right? Palma, 7 points in the game.
To Del Fuentes.
Lugano makes the shot and knocks it down. Lorga is open. 3-point.
Goodness! Face a jumper by Robin Celis.
Caballero has time.
Now it's Martin Rozo. Turnaround jumper. Oh my goodness.
It's officially the start of the rainy season here, but the basketball continues in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League, and we travel down south to the city of Lucena in Quezon, and we're back at the Quezon Convention Center for a triple header to cap off the week this Saturday. And to begin festivities, we have two teams on opposite ends of the spectrum, AC Soberano and the rest of the San Juan Knights, looking to sustain their form in the North Division, and he will go up against Alan Mangahas and the rest of Parañaque na nangangailangan manalo sa labang ito. It's San Juan versus Parañaque in the first game, followed by the Abra Solid North Weavers taking on Imus Brotherhood, and to cap things off, Quezon Huskers will host the Caloocan Batang Kangkalu. Magandang hapon mga kaliga, this is Ken Panglinan alongside Coach Mike Perez, and at courtside we have Miss Gianna Lianes. Coach, we're roughly 3 months halfway in the elimination phase, and the competition has gotten intense, especially in the past couple of days.
Oo, napaka-importante para dito sa mga teams natin, no? Lalo na almost a third of their game already done, and more, interesting games that would happen here in this season.
And of course, you're watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube, and later we'll be on Solar Sports on our second game. And of course, we'll introduce our third member for panel. Walang iba kundi si Miss Gianna Lianes. And G has a report for us on the side of Parañaque, who's been having some sort of struggles lately here, Gianna.
Well, first of all, I want to say, Ken and Coach Mike, it's nice to see that you braved through the rain to get to the games today. At kahit nga medyo maulan sa labas, we're going to make sure that the energy here at the Quezon Convention Center is bright and a lot of fun. Yun din ang gusto ng Parañaque Patriots. They said that you can't count them out even though they are going against a much more experienced San Juan Knights today. Sabi nga nila na their last few games, nahirapan sila in terms of conditioning dahil aminado sila na hindi sila regular nakakapag-ensayo. But when they did get the chance this past week, they really made sure to run that ball. Their game plan actually revolves around their press in order to delay the flow of offense of San Juan. They said that if they want to win today, magiging physical talaga ang laro. And they're especially going to emphasize on their screens and their one-on-one plays. Back to you guys.
Alam mo, G, basta kayo ni Coach Mike, kahit saan pa, walang problema. And of course, a tall order for Parañaque going up against the San Juan Knights. But first, Coach Mike, yesterday, for the very first time, we were at the Brenzy Giao Convention Center, and it was supposed to be a homecoming for Pampanga with celebrating their 2 championships. But nabigo sila laban dito sa Nueva Ecija. Zamboanga winning this one over Batangas City, and Pasig City nanalo kontra Val City Magic.
Yeah, and Pampanga actually very excited to be back home, pero yun nga, yung maganda yung naging resulta ng laban na yun, pero in favor of Nueva Ecija. A good fight though by Pampanga, kahit na there are certain players that were not available, but they did give a good fight against the Rice Vanguards.
And in the South Division, Quezon is still at number 2, but Zamboanga with that win has separated themselves a little bit here, Coach Mike.
Yeah, napakaganda ng performance talaga ng Zamboanga. So far still leading in the South with an 8-game win streak. Itong Quezon naman, after matalo sa Abra, susubukan mamaya makabalik ulit sa pagkakapanalo. Imus coming off a succession of losses, we wanna come back and win as well. And like what you said earlier, Parañaque talagang gutom na gutom nga naman sa panalo.
And in the North Division is where it gets interesting, Coach Mike. We have 3 of the top 4 teams playing today in Abra, San Juan, and Caloocan. And with Pampanga's loss yesterday, napalaking bagay yan for those 3 teams.
Oo, totoo. It would actually be an opportunity for these other teams to move the needle and, move them up potentially into the top 4 depending on how they perform in their succeeding games.
And those teams, including San Juan today, ang gusto nyo lang mangyari is to continue to pile up wins And that's what exactly they did in their last match against Val City. They took care of business as usual. And from the get-go, we saw here, especially yung 3-point shooting yung gumana para sa kanila dito, Coach Mike.
Oh, they went on a big 19-point run to start the second while nilimit nila at only 9 points. Itong Val City in that quarter, they led by as much as 35 points. 6 Knights actually in double digits, led by AC Soberan who had 18, was 6 of 10 from 3, and sinundan niya ni Sabandal who had 13, who was 50% from 3, and Joseph Ubalde had a double-double, 13 points and 10 rebounds. Really ganda ng shooting sa field, ganda ng shooting sa 3 points. Dominated nila yung boards, and at the same time, yung plus 40 na tulong na nanggaling sa bench, napakalaking bagay para dito sa San Juan Knights in that win.
And they look to keep in pace with Nueva Ecija at the top, itong San Juan, and they will take on Parañaque who has really struggled for form. They've lost their last 7 games, Coach Mike, and we covered their game last time out in the Alonte Sports Arena. Maganda actually simula nila dito. They were up in the first quarter, but Binyan had that strong run towards the tail end of that period and never looked back.
Yeah, and yung run na yun is yung 17-point run. Naging up na sila 47-26 and never really looked back, leading up to that 19-point win para dito sa Binyan. It was tough, no? James Mangas at 12 points on a 4 of 11 shooting from 3. Kevin Buenaflor was really sizzling from outside, 2 out of 5 from the 3 points for a 40% clip. Just a tough day in the field. Average shooting, out-rebounded, minus 10 offensive rebounds, and your second chance points, boy, you only scored 2 points on second chance opportunities and you're down 15 in that department. It's gonna be tough to win against anyone.
Alright, San Juan, laban sa Parañaque, ang ating unang laban. Puntahan na natin si Richard Campos as he introduces the starters.
The starting 5 of the Season 2 champions, San Juan Knights, go for gold. Forward number 15, Arvin Gamboa. Point guard number 13, Royce Alforque. Also at guard number 11, John Calinato. Forward number 7, Ron Denison. Playing center number 2, Mike Calisaan. The head coach is Alex Angeles. Assistant coaches, Jonathan Banal, RB Mangahas, Jameson Pin, Nat Gregorio, Paulo Gorospe, Jigs Guadamor, and PJ Maningan. Team consultants, Philip Cesar and Jun Dinglasan, team manager, Jun Usman, the team honors, Honorable Senator Jingo Estrada and Jeremy Go. Here's the starting unit for Parañaque Patriots. Power forward number 41, J-Boy Solis. Shooting guard number 37, Paulo Castro. Center number 14, Jesse Saitanan. Point guard number 12, Jasper Cuevas. Small forward number 0, Dave Moralde. The head coach is Stephen Mopera and will be led today by Franklin Mancio with Tyron Ruiz and Sikorsky Miguelino. The team manager Joy Mendoza. The team owner is Honorable John Villapuerte.
Starting 5 brought to you by OneXBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with OneXBet. San Juan with a backcourt of Royce Alforque and John Calinato. At center, Mike Calisaan. At the forward spots, Ron Denison and Arvin Gamboa. For Parañaque, Jasper Cuevas, Paulo Castro, Jesse Saitanan, J-Boy Solis, and Dave Boralde. Our referees for this ball game, Jay Castroverde, Haleric D'Amico, Dino Lacerna, and fourth man is Jackson Mabandos. Tip going to the side of the San Juan Knights. Alforque getting another start at that point guard spot. Calinato sends it back to Alforque. Gamboa, no handoff. He decides to pull up, and Arvin Gamboa, his growth, we've mentioned that time and time again, Coach Mike, has been immense para dito sa San Juan.
Oo, totoo. Lalo na pagdating sa action sa loob ng shaded area, inaasahan siya pagdating sa rebounds. And complementary yan para dito sa mga mahuhusay na gwardiya at malalakas rin na forward para dito sa San Juan Knights. And they really just love to move the ball around. This team is a very unselfish team, founded on a very good system that I feel that Coach Alex has really got the buy-in of mga players nitong San Juan.
You mentioned their assists, Coach Mike. They've been averaging more than 24 assists in their last 7 games as compared to only just below 20 assists in their first 6. It's been night and day in that department. As we see Mike Kalisaan score another basket, 6-0 start para dito sa Knights.
Totoo naman yan. At itong mga Knights na ito, kada season na lang nakikita natin kung gaano kasistema maglaro itong San Juan Knights, and so you're not surprised na that at that point of yung stat line ng assist, malaki rin talaga naging improvement nila.
Fast break of the game brought to you by Extreme X Pop, personal karaoke speaker, everyday karaoke. This was Mike Kalisaan going to work early for the San Juan Knights.
And the thing is, it started with defense, no? Up high, around the half-court area, where they're able to recover that loose ball and turn it over into fast break.
Just like that, it's a 9-0 blast for the San Juan Knights. 3-pointer converted by John Galinato.
The three-point shooting is also one of the things that they've been better at. They've gotten more attempts. They have 3 more attempts in that department, and they're making 2 more compared from last season. And so, hindi pa masyadong, in my opinion, ganun karami nagiging volume shots ni Orlan Wamar pagdating sa 3 points. And so, nakikita mong as the season would go, you can't expect na lalabas at lalabas yung laro na yan para kay Orlan Wamar from the 3 points.
Sobrang eye-opening, Coach Mike, nung laban nila sa Val City. They had 17 threes. Prior to that, they were in the bottom 10 in terms of makes and attempts from beyond the arc. So, although you've mentioned already Orlan Wamar, AC Soberano, they've got capable shooters. Pero hindi pa nila masyadong na-unlock yung potential nila when it comes to those 3-point shooting para dito sa San Juan.
Totoo yan. Kaya malaki pa rin yung potential na mailabas yan nitong San Juan Knights this season. And when you look at the games that needed 3-pointers and the dominance scoring-wise para dito kay Orlan Wamar, he just turns on his game. For the most part, early on, nagugulat nga tayo, puro pasa lang si Orlan Pero yung mga big games, just like yung sa Nueva Ecija, nakikita mo pumapasok na ulit yung kanyang point production.
And majority of his stint so far under Coach Alex, he has come off the bench. As Mike Kalisaan, specialty of the house, short stab. And it's been all San Juan in the first 3 minutes or so to begin this game. Parañaque sues for time.
And kung katulad ng sinabi natin kanina, gutom na gutom itong Parañaque na manalo. So far in this game, mukhang gutom na gutom rin sila makakuha ng puntos to start this game against the Knights.
We'll return after this short break.
Welcome back to the MPBL. Hindi makakalaro si Sean Jackson para sa San Juan Knights ngayon dahil sa ankle injury. Pero ibinahagi ni Coach Alex Angeles that San Juan is aiming for that national championship this season. He has been coaching for various teams like Bacolod, Bacoor, and now San Juan for the past few seasons in the MPBL. So he shares na ang biggest learning curve niya as a coach is to set aside the barrier between him and the players. Noong player daw siya dati, naiilang siya o nahihiya na ipakita ang kanyang talento sa harap ng coaches. So when he got the opportunity to lead San Juan daw, he broke that barrier right away, and it has been the best thing working for them so far. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, G. And Coach Alex Angeles has always been a player's coach, Coach Mike, given that he has experience being a player. He played for Laguna before. And, sometimes it takes a while for that barrier to be broken or, kumbaga, ma-shatter between a player and a coach. Pero given na alam niya yung experience, naging manlalaro siya dati, yun agad yung trinabaho niya. And even though yun yung unang trinabaho niya, coach, hindi yan naging madali. It hasn't been a seamless transition for San Juan, but right now we're seeing the fruits of their labor come to fruition here as San Juan opens up with a 14-0 blast here.
Yeah, and so far, before I get back to that question, wala pa ring field goals para dito sa Parañaque. This is what, their 5th, their 6 attempts already. And then still no score para dito sa Parañaque Patriots. So what they've done is they brought in itong si MJ Ohomo, is one of the guys coming out of the South basketball, and another 3 right there para dito sa San Juan Knights, and the hope is itong si MJ could somehow bring that little bit of edge para dito sa Parañaque Patriots, which they desperately need, especially if they seek for a win in a very long while.
Wala pa rin. Para sa Parañaque, sablay yung tira sa labas ni J-Boy Solis. Arvin Gamboa puts it on the deck against J-Boy. Turns it over. Chance here for Parañaque in transition. MJ Homo goes right at Alforque and finally gets the basket. He has a free throw to boot.
How poetic is that your newest guy on the floor, MJ Homo, is the one who brings that first field goal and the first points. Coming off the bench, MJ Homo, he always loves that kind of action. Open floor, looks for that contact before he goes for that finish. Tough guy, actually, itong si MJ Homo. I'm sure you've covered him in some of the other games that he's been in. And alam mo talagang kung physicality rin lang ang usapan at tapang, hindi nagkukulang dyan ang isang MJ Homo.
Naglaro yan sa Olivares College, coach.
Yes.
Under Coach Mike.
Yes. He's actually a legend down in the San Pedro area.
San Pedro.
He's from San Pedro, Laguna. At one point, I think we got to coach him at some point in a couple of games in one of the schools down there in the south. But for the most part, he really has been isa sa mga, kumbaga, institusyon na pagdating sa basketball dito sa San Pedro at Binyan area.
Mintes yung tira ni Kevin Peñaflor. 20-2, 18 points ang lamang ng San Juan. Just their second turnover. This 3-point shot brought to you by Extreme, your one-stop shop appliances.
Ang ganda ng pagkaka-snake doon sa screen na yun. And another basket right here for the Patriots.
James Mangahas just inside the arc from the right wing.
Couple of guys from San Pedro, Laguna actually bringing the early points here para sa Parañaque Patriots.
In all of the baskets of San Juan came from assists. 8 out of 10 field goal shooting, 8 assists na para dito sa San Juan.
Which is pretty much, you know, their identity. This is a team that loves to share that ball.
That was that shot by James Mangahas. MJ Homo back at the line. San Pedro pala siya. I thought he was Parañaque din.
Yeah, San Pedro, Laguna yan. Dati, when he was still a younger player, I think pre-pandemic, I understand he was parang in high school that time. He was a small guy that really loved to play basketball, as LGR is the official outfitter of the MPBL. He loved playing the guard position, pero hindi rin siya nahihiya na makipagbungguan against mga bigs na nakakalaban niya noon. So I think doon nang galing yung kasanayan niya na makalaban yung mas matatangkad sa kanya.
This is only his first game for Parañaque. Join sa bantal. Can't hit the free. Ball will go back to the Patriots. Marquez will come in for San Juan. Arvin Gamboa, what a stint to begin the first quarter here. Ito nakakatakot sa San Juan eh.
No. Ang lalim ng rotation ng guardia, no?
Triniel Viloria, AC Soberano.
Tsaka feeling ko hindi pa nagpipeak itong San Juan Knights in terms of performance ng mga guardia. You know, if all of these guys would actually perform at the level that they're at and to their potential, then guys like Triniel Viloria, AC Soberano, these guys, even Joem sa Bandal, all together in one game, that's gonna be tough for anyone to be going up against.
James Mangahas with a 3, up to 5 points. But Joem sa Bandal able to neutralize that with a 3 of his own from the left corner.
Kitang-kita mo yung imprint ni Coach Alex Angeles dito sa San Juan Knights. So very unselfish players. Kind of like how he was na naglalaro siya. And to Gianna's report earlier, totoo lahat yun eh. I think yung masala yung part nung mahiyain si Coach Alex, hindi siya ganun kaano eh. Kumbaga spotlight-wise, he doesn't hug that when he was playing for San Beda. And I did see that. But he was definitely a guard that you would always have to love on the floor, especially when he wore the red and white for us in San Beda.
Parañaque playing much better in the last couple of minutes. This was the assist of the game, brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory, feel more game with 1xBet. And the Patriots able to trim the gap to 10, 23-13. Back with us here inside the Quezon Convention Center. Orlan Wamar in street clothes will not play tonight for San Juan. Special deal from 1xBet. Scan the QR code and claim your special offer. Meron din talaga iniin na si Orlan eh. Even though he was playing, Coach Mike, yung mga last few games nila, no? And he felt like this was a good time for him to rest. Especially it's a long season.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's gonna give opportunities to guys like Royce Alforque, Joem sa Bandal.
Kumbaga, win-win situation, You get to give Orlan his much-needed and well-deserved rest. After all, he's been playing a lot of minutes para dito sa San Juan Knights. Playing with a lot of intensity too. And at the same time, binibigyan mo ng pagkakataon yung mga other players to get floor time and an opportunity to be seen together on the floor.
Basket in the paint from Dexter Marquez. Alvin Capombres called for that traveling violation. Kagandahan kasi dito sa point guard rotation ng San Juan. These two guys, fresh off college, Joem sa Bandal, Royce Alforque. They're both really tall, really strong at that spot and can also play on both sides of the floor.
At saka mataas ang basketball IQ. The players of the San Juan Knights, well, they do use a system. It really is also founded on the reads and decision making of the players, and the names that you mentioned really just parang epitomizes the kind of player that you have to be if you're gonna play for the San Juan Knights.
12-point lead for San Juan. A minute and 10 remaining in the first quarter. Capombres fires way off the mark. Viloria tracks it down for the Knights. Pushing it. Soberano is free for free. Book it.
6 of 10 in the last game. Those volume 10 already tells you the kind of player that AC Soberano has been. One of the top three-point shooters this league has ever seen. He, for the most part, would be holding that corner three, waiting for what the initial offense would run. And once they don't have any, just like this one, he's gonna go in and shoot it and make it. And that's pretty much automatic. I would love to see in one team, ganda siguro nito, si Soberano yung balako niya.
Oo naman.
Grabe. Parehong automatic release eh.
Ang gusto ko kasi kay AC, as you saw the numbers, yung 3-point shooting niya, bukod sa napaka-shooter na niya, napaka-efficient pa from the outside. He's always in the 40s pataas in terms of percentage.
Even the free throws, he's high, high 85s, almost 90 at the line, and so you really can't foul him because he's so good at the free throws as well.
Sa Pandal, able to beat the buzzer. And this was a good screen from Maikes, freeing up Joem sa Pandal. Clearly counts. Released it just before the buzzer sounded.
And that screen by Maikes was so tough that MJ Homo could not do anything. And that really good start by San Juan, just connecting, getting open men to make those baskets, really led them to this 18-point lead in the first.
AC Soberano against Val City strung his magic together with 18 points. All of his field goals came from downtown. And for more on AC, let's go to Gianna.
Ken and Coach Mike, if you look through AC Soberano's social media accounts, he loves to share about how much he enjoys being a dad. In his words, becoming a father is the best thing that's ever happened in my life. My son became my inspiration to work harder every day. I want him to be proud of me. Maybe that's why I'm giving my best in this profession. Pagdating daw sa improvement sa San Juan, he's really trying to stay more consistent in his role as a shooting guard. Maaga daw siya dumarating sa kanilang training para maipractice ang kanyang volume shots. He also adds that having a son also made him love being around kids. Kaya kung hindi daw siya basketball player, he sees himself as a PE professor. Back to you guys.
Wow, that's an interesting tidbit right there. Maraming salamat, G. And Coach Mike, you are probably the most relatable in terms of AC being a father. But, ibang klase eh. Siyempre, lalo bagong dad siya. And he's still playing professionally here for San Juan. I'm sure it's gonna feel really good for him as he continues his career here with the Knights.
Yeah, and you just have so much admiration for guys like AC Soberano who, nung bata pa, pure basketball lang talaga. He's so good at it. But once, family time comes in, lalo na for your kids, nagbabago yung facet and perspective pagdating sa buhay, and that maturity I feel with AC has really made him understand that outside of basketball there are also other bigger things in life that he has to attend to. And make no mistake about it, AC Soberano, when you talk about three-point shooting, he is one of the reasons why San Juan has done well from three alongside si Orlando Mar.
And I want to highlight this because it wasn't pretty to start the season for AC Soberano.
Correct.
As Texter Maikes was able to go in transition for that basket. His first few games only averaged 2.2 points and only made 3 triples total and shot only 14.3% from the field. But in his last 6 games, Coach Mike, 10 points per game and a total of 17 triples. And night and day yung naging simula at yung latest explosion ni AC para dito sa San Juan.
And I love, Ken, that you brought that up. As you see a 3 right here by Kevin Buenafro. I love that you brought that up because in the start of the season, in the early games of San Juan, when you compare their numbers in 2024 versus 2025, on 3-pointers alone, it was a deficit. And only because a lot of the schemes have been more concentrated on the perimeter, paint twos, a little bit of non-paint twos, pero very little of three-point making. And it was because of those numbers by AC Soberano. He very rarely got floor time. If he does get on the floor, limited yung touches niya. But as the season went on, those stat lines na deficit para dito sa San Juan have now become favorable na para sa kanila comparing to last season. Although they're a little bit down when it comes to total points, they're still -9 versus 2029. But you love the progression of these Knights, kind of like just peaking at the right moment here this season.
Parañaque down by 15, 37-22. Almost 3 minutes gone by in the second period. Viloria can't get it to go from downtown. MJ Homo streaks down the lane but can't finish.
Full steam ahead down for MJ Homo. I think ito yung magiging difference ng experience niya dito sa MPBL. If in the other tournaments that he's played, you know, that size and that strength, he can bully against the other guards. Now, guards are taller and even stronger than him, even in open floor.
Fast break of the game is brought to you by Extreme X Play. On the go speaker, take your music anywhere.
Yeah, that's what you get from MJ Homo. That time around, he connected with his co-San Pedro player in Bernard Allen Papa, who also I had the fortune of being able to coach quite shortly in San Pedro, Laguna.
Saan yun, coach? As in
High school.
High
I think
school.
he was I think second year high school. That was there's a school in San Pedro that's called Liceo de San Pedro. That's very near the municipio, and one of the coaches there, Coach Chester Berganyo, happens to be a player of mine previously, and so he asked me to join him and do coaching stores with him. And that's the time that I met Bernard Allen Papa. I knew already that Bernard had a lot of potential, and so I'm not surprised that he's playing at this level. Although I do hope he gets more floor time, and so that he can, you know, show what else he can do on the floor para dito sa Patriots.
AC with a rare miss. 8 out of 12 ang San Juan from beyond the arc. 66.7%. Jeff Taonera getting his first appearance for the Knights. Under 6 minutes to go here in the second period. Alan Mangahas nasa loob na rin para sa Parañaque. J-Boy Solis. No handoff. Finally, Homo gets his hands onto the basketball, pero naagawan siya dito ni Villapando. Viloria able to recover sa bandal. Back to Viloria and gets it to go underneath.
Unselfishness, quick thinking, good recovery. That's pretty much what you saw on that side of the floor para sa San Juan Knights. And Alan could not do so much against a couple of guys who were very unselfish and just plays with a lot of good looks. Nice pass.
Extra feed inside. Solis, Supapa for the deuce.
Very timely cut by Bernard Allen Papa right there in the middle after J-Boy got that ball on that right side elbow. Just went backdoor on the backside, and being the lowest guy on that defense, on that offense rather, defense that didn't see him, and so he was able to catch it and shoot it.
Soberano continues to fire and continues to hit it from downtown.
AC Soberano. 4 out of 7 from 3. Boy. Very early, high 60s, almost 70%.
That is the AC that we've grown accustomed to, as we have display of the game brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
Wala na talaga nagawa si Alan ko. Hindi na niya alam kung saan manggagaling yung kung titira na ba o ipapasa pa ulit eh.
45-24, Jasper Cuevas may tanga ng bola at the elbow. Solis gives it up to Alan Mangahas, fires, shot clock winding down. Ron Denison grabs the rebound for San Juan. Alforque at the controls. Parañaque in a 2-3 zone. Ubalde and Tajonera together on the floor, streaming good music together.
I think yung last game na yun ang best game ni Ubalde. Had 13 points. And such a valuable contribution off the bench on that big win para dito sa Knights.
You know, if not for AC Soberano's explosion in that game against Val City, ibibigay na dapat ni Happy yung best player dito eh. Kay Joseph Ubalde, back-to-back baskets.
Oh, ibang klase rin naman kasi yung pinukol ni AC doon. I mean, you make 6 out of 10. First of all, if you're Coach Alex, you're happy that the volume attempts have come back para dito kay AC. And you're even more happier because the threes have been falling, just like this three by Ron Dennison. And Ron, just to put it on record, one of the really good forwards and shooters and defenders we've seen here in the MPBL.
San Juan looks like they're trying to break another record. 10 out of 16 right now from beyond the arc. This last one courtesy of Ron Dennison.
At saka napakaraming ganyang players ng San Juan. Yung ang ganda ng potential na ipe-perform pero napakatahimik. Silent contributors for the Knights, one of them being Ron Dennison.
San Juan up by 28. Back with us here inside the Quezon Convention Center in Lucena City. This is the first game of our Saturday triple header, San Juan versus Parañaque. All of our games are between North and South Division teams. Later, it's Abra laban sa Imus. Caloocan naman, susubukan ang Tikas ng Quezon in our main game.
Oh, that third game promises to be something. Not only because of the guys playing, but even the coaches.
Assist of the game brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
Gaano kadalas mo naman makikita si Joseph Obalde na may catch and shoot, one-legged runner, no?
Oo.
Pababa, normally nasa poste.
How about the number of assists, Coach Mike? 21 made field goals for San Juan. All of
All
which
them assisted.
resulted from assists.
That's right. That's what's impressive about this. And they're not done yet. And nahihirapan rin talagang makabalik at dumipensa itong Parañaque Patriots because that ball keeps moving around. That ping and that energy on the ball just is so high right now for the San Juan Knights, and very rarely do you see multiple dribbles. Oh, there you go. That's another one right there.
Galing ulit sa pasa yun.
Yeah. You give it to the pinch post guy, which happens to be Joseph Obalde. Waits for that handoff, fakes it, keeps it, and takes the shot because that defense sagged off of it.
And that's what I feel like it has been really tremendous for San Juan, Coach Mike. When you observe them right now, given that their opponent is Parañaque, with all due respect, they're still mirrored at the bottom of the South Division. But how they're playing right now, hindi din sila gigil. Hindi rin naman sila relax. They're into a right mix. And lahat nung ginagawa nila is within the flow of what they're trying to do moving forward in the season.
Yeah, it almost looks like parang makina na eh. No?
Oo.
Yung, sige, tuloy-tuloy lang tayo. Next possession, ano yung irara natin? Paano yung magiging reads natin? Paano kayo magdi-decide? And the shots that they're taking have always been within the flow of the offense. Samantala ito naman Patriots, they're really trying their best to be able to compete against the other teams. And those 5 recent losses that they've had, much as they want to be able to win against them, ang dami lang talagang nawala rin ng mga talento para dito sa Patriots. And much as you love the mga Haas brothers, you love Jasper Cuevas, Saitanan, even Pido, dami.
This free throw, hatid sa atin na Extreme Appliances, ang subok at kompletong appliance brand ng Pilipinas.
And I'm sure yung mga competitor side ng mga players like Dave Moralde, and Kevin Buenaflor, those guys would love to compete, but it's just that maybe the shortage of other talent compared to how the other teams are built.
And Coach Mike, just going back to my point about the San Juan Knights, alam mo magandang exercise if you're watching this game right now, just don't look at the score and the time and just observe how San Juan is playing. You wouldn't even know that they're facing against, syempre on paper, much inferior opponent given the record. Pero kung titignan mo sila paano maglaro, parang ganun pa din eh.
Walang sign of flashiness.
Oo.
It's really just get into a situation, make your reads, offense or defense, and make sure you execute the right way. And if we fail, then we go back next play.
I think that was the first unassisted basket for San Juan as the second period comes to a close. And the San Juan Knights just putting on a clinic here in the first 20 minutes of game action. Parañaque just having trouble dealing with this firepower of the Knights, led by this hot shooting of AC Soberano.
Yeah, and everything just clicking. And every time you see a game like this, you always look at the basic stats of the game: points, rebounds, assists, and the help that you're getting off the bench. And from all of them, almost been San Juan with the upper hand.
Up by 25 over Parañaque at the half, 56-31.
Is annihilating Oscar De La Hoya's. That is the most spectacular one-punch set of Manny Pacquiao's incredible career. And he fights his way over and goes down again. Straight left hand for Manny. Does he have Cotto in trouble? Manny Pacquiao is a storm. Huge left hand by Pacquiao. Punch after punch after punch. And he backs the straight left hand. And there's the punching down. Look at the brilliant accuracy of Manny Pacquiao. Landing with both right and left hands. This is why we use the word sensation.
Manalang gets it back. 8 seconds to work with. They go to Giab against Capulong. Nice fake by Giab. Atake ni Josh Giab! What a move from Josh Giab! Look at the move from Josh Giab. The shot fake. And lets Capulong fly by with that hang time move.
And the thing is, may nakadig pa si si Mitch Maynes.
Olegario drives right at Jego Dario. Finds a way. Oh my! Hindi ko alam paano nagawa ng paraan ni Jay Olegario yun. I could not even find him. Could not even see him. 3 players against J.R. Olegario.
Hindi mo na nga makita.
Kaya nga.
Plus 10 ang Pasay, 14-4. Cyrus Tabi quietly has been having a solid season.
What a pass.
And what a pass. Like you said, papunta kay AJ Coronel.
And that's with the left hand. Usually, players are good with their strong hand, no? Yung mga magagaling pumasa. And this one, though, using the left hand for that behind the back in tight space.
4-point lead para sa Abra. Taiwan. Ildefonso. Oh, what a move. Dave Ildefonso able to elude the defense. At ito yung magandang galaw ni Dave Ildefonso.
And that's just muscle memory para dito kay Dave Ildefonso.
Risers with a glimmer of hope. Kani. Kani for 3! Oh! Hubert Kani, I tell you, never count the Risers out, especially here on their home floor.
That's right. He rose up with those hands, challenged by Philip Manalang, still knocked it down.
Pasay looks like they're getting a win here after back-to-back losses. Oh, Adlawan could certainly dunk. He'll try for that, and he does! Slam jam for Dolan Adlawan.
Pasok na sa top 3 yun, yung dakdak na yun. Maybe the #1 play.
They trap Pido. He goes to Himpayan. Waray finds Pagres for the hammer!
Oh boy! Me, oh my!
Mark Pingris.
What a slap galing kay Mark Pingris. He went up there.
To Coach Stephen Mapera's playbook that he could have more playing time for Parañaque in the coming games.
Tido. Oh! The exclamation point to this one.
May pahabol pa!
Nawala tuloy headset ko. Nagulat ako.
That's the first time I've actually seen somebody in the panel lose their headset after a dunk.
Ibang klase naman kasi out of nowhere. And Warlow Batak.
Mina against Darang. 5 seconds to work with. Mina fires a three. Good! Alan Mina! 10 points in the game. And a clutch basket for the Cowboys.
Boy, what you love about this, the guys on Ilagan, the Cowboys, clutch after clutch.
They have been fouled as well there.
Yup, didn't get to land on where he's supposed to.
Yes.
Oh my.
Big time shot galing kay Allen for 2. 10 seconds on the shot clock for Bataan. Mitchell with the in and out dribble. Mitchell, what a finish! What a finish! And I thought I was watching Dr. J right there. The in and out dribble. Maynes gets deep and adjusts, contorts, and just lays it in with some English. What a spectacular move from Mitchell Maynes.
Dr. J-like, if you ask me.
At the half, San Juan leads Parañaque by 25 points, 56-31, and the first game of our Saturday triple header. And Coach Mike, San Juan pretty much opened up the floodgates early in this one, 17-0 start. And again, it's those frees, much like what they had against Val City, that was really the huge chunk of damage they did in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, and aside from all the movements on the ball, off the ball, which resulted into a lot of assists para dito sa San Juan, it's really just the confidence of taking those shots, to which medyo natagalan makarecover itong Parañaque before they got that score. So 58% versus 38% on the shooting, lalo na yung 10 3-pointers na yun galing sa San Juan. A lot of that having to come from AC Soberano. And really, basics of the game, rebounds and assists, gotta work a lot on it if you're the Patriots. You wanna secure a win here.
Soberano, 18 points last game. Meron ng 12 in the first 2 quarters. Ron Denison with 9 points, 6 each from Joseph Ubalde and Dexter Marquez. And for the Parañaque Patriots, silver lining here is Allen Papa having 11 points off the bench. James Bangahas with 9. MJ Homo, his first game, creating some sort of impact for the Patriots with 4 points. Kevin Buenaflor hit a free earlier for Parañaque, but still an uphill climb for the former team that made it all the way to the South Division semifinals last year. Natalo lang sila sa Quezon Huskers. And as we begin the third quarter, there's some sort of technical difficulties sa ating game clock, no?
Clock is not moved.
Coach Alex Angeles, of course, ang ating magigiting na table officials.
Hindi lang magigiting yan, matitikas pa yan.
Oo. Alam mo, halos araw-araw talaga sila eh.
Oo.
Very short yung rotation nila dyan. And they travel to all sorts of places para lang makapagbigay ng serbisyo dito sa Liga ng Bawat Pilipino. When we say Liga ng Bawat Pilipino, you know, it's not just about the players. It's all about the people working here that really provide color in terms of covering the games, Coach Mike.
At saka napakaganda ng kontekstong binibigay nila sa atin. The stats that we get out of what these guys have been working on has really helped a lot. Yan sila Sir Jao, sila Miguel Pere, no? Those guys on the other side of the table, because magkatapat tayo dito on the floor, really helped us give a lot of stories because of the numbers that they give us.
Siyempre, yung mga scorers din natin, timekeepers, yung mga Paternos, Tata Ricky, of course, si Paxson is there. Lagi sinasabi ni Tata Ricky, nagpo-post siya sa Facebook, the unsung heroes. That's literally what they are.
Yeah.
Siyempre, the spotlight is always on the players. Pero, siyempre, hindi tatakbo ang liga without our table officials, our production team. And we're in our 7th season. And maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga tumututok sa atin.
Importante yung mga back of the house team natin dito sa MPBL. Parang sa ano rin yan, sa trabaho rin sa corporate at saka sa iba't ibang kumpanya. Kaya, you know, unsung heroes, you're correct on that.
Just a minute gone by, hindi po gumalaw ang ating score. 5 on the floor for San Juan, Royce Alforque, John Galinato, Ron Denison, Mike Kalisaan, and Arvin Gamboa.
Grabe.
Ang ganda ng mga sets na nilera lang San Juan, Coach Mike, no?
Yeah. It's really based on triggers. If I see that correctly, I don't know if Coach Alex would agree with me. You know, for the most part, that's Princeton movements. You know, you dribble handoff one side, there's an exchange on the other side of the floor, you go to a chin, which eventually ended up on that alley-oop play. And somehow, if you're a coach and you're just passionate about the games, you really just love seeing these schemes offensively and defensively on the teams, because it really just tells you the depth of commitment ng mga coaches and even the players. I'm sure a lot of study has been done, and gusto nilang makakuha ng yung movement na mag-fit sa identity ng kanilang team players and even how the coach perceives the game.
Assist of the game brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. First basket belongs to San Juan. As they get the ball back off that offensive rebound, Arvin Gamboa off the bounce. And again, we marveled at his growth. That's the biggest growth I feel like for him, is him able to put it on the deck, create situations, not only for himself, but for his teammates, Coach Mike.
Oo, kasi alam mo na yung catch and shoot, face up, take a shot, 15 foot in, mid post, elbow side. Alam mo kaya niyang gawin yun pero to your point, yung pagbaba ng bola sa sahig, yun ang napakalaking bagay para sa kanya this season.
Sean Jackson, AJ Royo, and Nico Panganiban. Kasama si Orlan Wamar, no?
Bigat.
Not in uniform. Yun yung mabigat Ang solid na nga nito mga naglalaro. Yung mga hindi pa naka-uniforme, alam mong lahat may maiba ang bag
These guys have a good set of veteran players then on their team. And when you think about that, babalik ka dun sa good parang mix of experience, youth, and peaking players.
And that's been the theme for San Juan in I think the last 3 or 4 seasons already, Coach Mike. Na actually yung mga hina-highlight natin, they're not the big names compared to the other teams,
That's
the
right.
players that they have. But to your point, yung collective effort nila has always been working time and time again. They have made the playoffs in each and every season. In fact, going all the way to the North Division Finals every time they have participated dito sa MPBL.
No. And Coach Alex, last season, this was coached by Coach Nani ba? Ang humawak nito last season?
Last season, Sen Chingoy was the head coach.
Right. That was the head coach. And some of the other coaches there was Coach Nani, no?
Coach Nani was still there, yes.
Yeah, was still there. And so, yung palit o dagdag ng mga bagong coaches para dito sa San Juan, talagang slowly in-adjust rin nila Hindi nila pinilit yung malaking change, no? And so that for the players, it wasn't so tough to make those little tweaks and adjustments, understanding that the base is really very similar to how they built it the previous season.
So yun yung nakakabilib sa kanila because, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but not every season are they favored to win it all in the North.
Pero sa dulo,
sila pa din.
Pupuk-puk, di ba?
Di ba?
Oo, papalag sa dulo. You can't count them out.
I mean, even with the impressive season they had, they finished number 1. They were able to beat Pampanga in the elimination phase to finish number 1 in the North. Pero yun that was really under the radar. It wasn't until they beat Pampanga where talagang yung attention natin was really towards them, gravitating towards a playoff push and towards a championship.
Oo, totoo. At saka I clearly remember that was that 2 seasons ago when they went up against Pampanga. Orlan Wamar really had a tough time against the defense of Neil Tolentino. Yun talaga yung trabaho ni Neil, no? Yung pahirapan yung mga primary scorers ng kanilang kalaban, which in that time happens to be Orlan Wamar. And so bringing in these other fresh talents, every year really would help out, ease the load for an Orlan Wamar. Oh, nice pass, nice drive. Couldn't get it though.
Backdoor galing kay John Galinato, 65-37. The Knights with a 28-point lead over the Patriots. Inside they go, Mangahas, pivots, draws a foul. James Mangahas, former champion in the UAP. 3-point shot is brought to you by Extreme, your one-stop shop appliances.
Mabigat niyan yung pagkakapasa doon sa side na yun kay Dad Galinato. His shot really was within the flow. Walang hesitation, just going in there. And it helps as well na may go signal to shoot.
Let's check in with Miss Gianna Llanes.
Let's talk about James Mangahas. Who are James Mangahas' basketball inspirations? Internationally, he loves Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady. Locally, he looks up to Vergel Meneses and our very own Commissioner Kenneth Duremdes. Now, he may be the oldest player on their team, but James shares he stays conditioned with a lot of biking. His favorite pastime, discovering overlooking views. Aware daw siya na with age comes the reality na being a basketball player isn't forever. So he is trying to improve his strategizing now. In his words, hindi na ako kasing athletic kumpara sa younger players, so I need to be smart when I play. Adding, and in a few years, hindi na ako makakalaro. So I need to be equipped and look into transitioning into becoming a coach someday. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Gianna, as J-Boy Solis with a slam for Parañaque. But going back to Gianna's report, Coach Mike, if there's, the players that Gianna mentioned na gustong mga idols, ika nga ni James, yun yung mga pwede niyang tularan eh. Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Vergel Meneses, and Com KD, when during the twilight of their careers, they were able to adjust their game and they were able to extend their careers. Next, a great move of the game, born for greatness. This was the slam from J-Boy Solis.
Yeah, and totoo ka doon sa kwento about James Mangahas, and a very interesting set of players na ina-idolize ni James. I've seen James kasi he's also from the South. I first saw James personally sometime about 2004, 2005, I think, if my memory serves me right. And he's always been a very introspective player in my opinion. Very skilled, highly potential, taas ng IQ, pero hindi mo siya makikita, nagpapakita ng so much emotion in a game. And so you're not surprised that when he talks about maturity, seeing loving scenics, high places, that's pretty much how he's been. And I'd like to attribute that to not just his maturity, but even his dad. Back then, when Alan and James were playing in our area, the dad was always there. And he'd be the very first to cheer on any good thing that he sees from both his son. And somehow, gusto mo yun di ba?
Special deal from 1xBet. Scan the QR code and claim your special offer. Siyempre naman, Coach Mike, playing in front of your dad, I'm sure has some really nice effect to you. And I'm sure those two guys, and binabanggit mo na rin si James how versatile he is. Nung sa Lasal, ganyan yan. And he was featured in a team where he played with the likes of T.Y. Tang, J.V. Casio, Rico Meyerhofer, and he played that small forward spot, and he was basically the starter during that championship run they had, I think back in 2007. Yun pa rin he could hit the shots from the outside, he could put it on the floor, and he could also post up, much like those four guys he mentioned.
Yeah, I was actually a fan that was anticipating that when it was his turn to be the lead of that Green Archers team. Unfortunately, he was able to lead them into a title, but yun talaga ang hope ko nun when Rico left. He was really the next guy in.
Siya yung naiwan dun nung nawala na sila JV, si TY, si Rico. Mangahas, right on cue.
Yeah. At saka he's very close to his family, itong si James Mangahas. Wife, family, kids, even sa mga pamangkin, talagang close. And you always see them having family gatherings at home. Lahat sila magkakapatid. Very extended ang family niya. Kaya yung magkapatid na mga ahas na yan, si Bernard, Alan, Papa, Take a 3, talagang well admired and well embraced, lalo na dun sa kanilang lugar sa San Pedro, Laguna.
Grenier Viloria with a free. Alam mo, natutuwa rin ako sa kanilang dalawa ni Alan kasi magkaiba sila ng posisyon na nilalaro. Magkaiba yung style ng paglalaro nila. Magkaiba rin yung ugali. Di ba? Kasi si Alan, syempre, medyo you know, pa jumpy,
Oo,
ganyan. Si
medyo-
James is more of the stoic
Oo.
one.
Si Alan kasi medyo may pagkakumikero
Oo, kengkoy talaga eh.
Kengkoy talaga eh. Pero pag nagbigay ng tip dun sa mga, nakikita ko kasi yan eh, pag naglalaro sila sa, yung mga kasama nila, yung mga aspiring na mga young players, no?
Oo.
Alan would always be giving tips to those young ballers. And kaya nga, sila, well embraced sila in our area. And the thing is, alam mo, uso yung mga hugot-hugot, di ba? You wanna get a complete package combo, yan na yun. Si James at si Alan, magkaiba ng posisyon, parehong magaling.
Play of the Game is brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. And I think dito lang sila sa MPBL as professionals na naging magkaampi sila.
Yes.
Sila naging magkaampi sa collegiate.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure
think,
if in high school.
I am not sure also in high school, but I do know, I think dito nga lang.
Di ba?
Sa
Sa
pro
MPBL
level,
lang
yeah,
eh.
sa MPBL lang.
LGR is the official outfitter of the MPBL. Hindi dahil nga sa sobrang magkaiba sila. Hindi ko nga naisip agad na magkapatid sila eh. Kahit pareho sila ng apelido.
Talaga?
Oo, hindi ko sila naisip magkapatid. Magkamukha ba sila?
Kung sa bagay, hindi naman.
Hindi naman,
no?
di ba?
Yeah. Tama ka naman. Hindi sila ganun magkahawig.
Seryoso yun. Like,
Una-una iba hairstyle, no?
oh. Here's James getting a breather. He's leading his team in scoring right now.
Oh, yeah, magkamukha ba?
Oh.
Oh, magkaiba nga naman. Ewan ko na lang siguro yung dad nila makakapagsabi ko. Pero I do know, si Alan is mas hawig niya yung dad niya. Correct.
Okay.
Fans of Alan, mga correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel na mas hawig ni Alan yung dad niya. I don't know if the dad would agree.
Mag-comment mamaya.
Oh.
A minute and 20 left. San Juan just having their way up by 36 points. Biggest lead was at 37. Paulo Castro attacks and lays it up and in.
And that's one other guy that has come out of the Parañaque program of Coach Mike Sagigit, Paulo Castro. I mean, jumpers, talagang maaasahan mo.
Marquez, the follow, no. Tap, wala pa din. Saitanan finally grabs it but nasundutan siya sa likod ni Joem sa bandal. Marquez at the block, kick out. Sa bandal, automatic from free.
Medyo binulungan pa ng konti ni Coach RB yata. After ma-make yung basket na yun, nilingon pa si Coach RB mga has ni Joem sa bandal.
Si Coach RB, dead shot din from the outside yan nung naglalaro yan for FEU.
Oo.
Di ba?
Oo naman.
Yan nga, binanggit na rin ni Gianna sa akin. Si James, teammates sila their whole lives except college.
So even in high school,
Mukha.
kaya. Kasi sigurado ako doon sa lugar sa amin palagi magkakampihan.
Third quarter comes to an end. San Juan comfortably ahead. Highlights of the game brought to you by Sip Plus, the official hydration partner of the MPBL. Elevate your hydration.
At nagpatuloy lang naman kung ano ang sinimulan dito ng San Juan Knights in that third quarter, continuing to be efficient. Just a plus 12 scoring in that quarter. 27 points in the third, and really just shows you the mastery in this game of the San Juan Knights over the Patriots.
Quarter coming up between San Juan and Parañaque. 40 puntos ang laban ng San Juan, 86-46. Dixer, fan of the game, born for greatness. And they have come in early here at the Quezon Convention Center.
Gusto mo talaga yung pagpamilya yung nanonood ng basketball. Na magkakasama. Pwede naman mag-movie, pero basketball muna tayo. Lalo na dito sa Quezon, this is a place that loves their basketball.
I think yung nagsiselfone si Rian Gonzalez yun. That's the younger sister of Raven Gonzalez, who will play later. Abra, kalaban ang Imus.
How about Raven? We'll talk about Raven later, pero that kid though.
Quarter scoring pretty much dominant ang San Juan. 33-15, 23-16, 30-15, plus 18, plus 17.
Taas ng ng output per quarter.
Fast break of the game brought to you by Extreme Cool Air Conditioners. Ang Extreme magpalamig, free installation for split type air conditioners.
At ngayon ko lang naalala, Ken.
Okay.
Yung nag-iisang unique identifier kung si Alan yan or si James.
Ano?
Alam mo ano?
Ano, coach?
Si Alan yung walang medyas. At saka mas mahaba yung shorts. Diba?
Oo nga.
Oo, doon na-identify si Alan eh.
Ba't pa di ko naisip yun, no?
Oo, diba?
Kapobres, pumukol sa 3. Wala yan. Nakuha ni Sabandal yung rebound para sa San Juan. Viloria. That pass intended to Marquez, but it will sail out.
Yes, Cranial Veloria isa na yun sa mga players, in my opinion, that I'm really very curious on when he is gonna peak this season para dito sa San Juan Knights. He's just a perfect fit sa klase ng player na hinahanap nitong San Juan Knights. I do understand last season marami rin mga ibang teams na interested sa services ni Cranial, but eventually it's San Juan Knights that he gave a nod to.
8:39 left here in the fourth quarter. Soberano again. Where is a free from the right wing?
Hindi drumibol, hindi inalintana yung depensang nasa harap niya. Pagka nakuha ang bola on the 3, always well formed to make an attempt.
16 frees already for the Knights. And bola babalik sa panig ng Parañaque. MJ Homo papasok sa loob para sa Parañaque. Sa San Juan naman si Jeff Tahonera. 93-46. By the way, happy birthday to Ronnie Andrade. Maligayang kaarawan sa'yo, kapatid. Parañaque running their set. Alec Elorde pulls up off the heel. The rebound grabbed by Joem Sabandal. Ubalde. Napalakas yung kanyang tira. Solis ang magbababa para sa Parañaque. J-Boy, great cut inside. Allen Papa free for the deuce. 93-48. Ken Villapando, Arvin Gamboa about to check in at the next whistle. Tahonera lobs it inside. Ubalde with another basket. 34th assist for the San Juan Knights. I think the most assists so far in a game, if I'm not mistaken, came from Basilan in their win against Bulacan. And that is what San Juan is trying to shatter. Play of the game brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. J-Boy at the line. Former Olivares College Sea Lion. Also former UCAL MVP. J-Boy Solis, those are his averages. 10.5 points, 6.4 rebounds. Had a good start actually to this season, Coach Mike. Pero medyo nag-fizzle out na rin siya, no? Especially nung di na natin nakita sila JP Calvo, Ed Dakiwa, Carl Brian Cruz.
I feel, in as much as I love how J-Boy Solis plays, He is primarily a complementary player.
Oh.
You know, you put him with key players, you know, he'd love to work alongside them. And he's perfect in that role. Not to say now he's not enough to lead a team, because he definitely has shown that when he was playing for the Olivares Sea Lions in those championship years. But here at this level, you love to see him complementary to the other guys.
95-51. Ano na ba to? 44 points, no? Yung lamang.
Biggest lead being at 47.
Denison, one-hander, short. Umawa yung tira doon ni Joseph Ubalde. MJ Homo at the controls. Gives it up to James Mangahas. And moving forward, Coach Mike, for San Juan, hindi pa nila nakakalaban ng Abra. They are neck and neck in the team standings. And that should be a fun one if ever those two collide. And how do you see that matchup playing out, at least with what you've seen so far?
Well, what keeps me very interested in that game, I feel that's going to be offense versus defense. Abra is one of the top defensive teams so far this season, and if you ask the coaches of Abra, I'm sure they would say they haven't peaked yet. There's still so much work to be done, but they do love where they're at and their progression. And knowing Coach Yong, alam naman natin na ayaw magpatalo, pero he's just taking it one game at a time, not looking very too far ahead for the Abra Weavers, but things are really looking up for those guys.
Daming side stories doon, because Coach Yong was a former assistant for the San Juan Knights. And on the flip side, Coach Tantan Banal was a former head coach for Abra.
Yeah, that part of the story then, no? Well, even yung strength and conditioning coach nila, si Coach Jerry Andaleon.
San Juan hitting the century mark.
If I recall correctly, after Coach Yong got that stint in Abra, the following season he immediately, reached out to Coach Jerry Andaleon, asking him if he wanted to join him in the Abra Weavers, because those two go a long way and kabisado na yung isa't isa, and you would love to have personalities and members of your team na familiar na sa isa't isa. And so that's why quickly Coach Yong reached out to Coach Jerry, and those guys have been doing really well partnering for the Abra Weavers.
Abra, apart from Nueva Ecija, obviously still unblemished. One of the hottest teams right now. And they have won their last 10 games. 12-1 sila overall. 49-point lead for the Knights. Elorde attacks, no good. Villapando with a rebound. He grabs and goes for San Juan. Villapando bumps into Homo. Some color between MJ and Ken.
Hindi talaga atras si MJ Homo sa mga ganyang situation. He's a fiery, passionate guy. Undersized pero malakas ang katawan. I parang it almost feels like he looks at himself as parang 6-footer, parang ganun, because of yung tapang at lakas ng katawan pakipag-move.
Tinamaan.
Oh yeah. Nice couple, and quickly you love that Joseph Obalde was there and J-Boy Solis to try and pacify both players.
Homo will get that free throw. 152.
At siguro ma-attribute mo yung ganyang klase ng paglalaro ni MJ Homo, kasi back when he was playing for, I think his first team in San Pedro when he was playing varsity ball was for a school that's called Great Land School. That school was owned by Randy Alborga, Voltaire Alberga, and another coach, Jeff Ponsalan. I think those were the guys who really taught him kahit undersized ka, basta laban lang tayo. That's a small school down there in San Pedro. And some of the really good players from that area has come from that school.
Dami din tayong ganyang mga klaseng player. This video brought to you by Extreme Appliances, ang subok at kompletong appliance brand ng Pilipinas. Ang isang pinaka-naalala ko dyan si si Aaron Hiruta.
Oo,
diba?
si Aaron, tapang din.
Di ba yung guard na ang hilig pumoste pag alam niyang guardian yung bumabantay sa kanya.
Guard on guard.
Oo. And that's old school basketball, Remember when guys like Chauncey Billups in the NBA, mga hilig nila gawin Basta alam nilang kaya nila postehan, yung bantay nilang guardia, postehan talaga nila
Chauncey played, kasi inabot ka sila Luka na Chauncey played for what?
Hanep ka, Coach Mike,
Let's move on.
Coach Mike, ginulat mo doon,
Hindi mo kilala, nyari ka pa.
Hindi tayo nagkakalayo ng mga edad dito nila, Gianna.
Sinabi mo pa si Gianna.
Oo. We are on the younger side,
Yes.
as always.
I'm on the younger side, you guys are on the youngest side.
Buena Flor, sablay yung kanyang tres. Inside. Sabi ko sa'yo, si MJ Homo.
Oo. Tsaka doon na talaga siya, he makes a living of scoring points inside because of how tough he plays. I remember one game, we went up against MJ Homo and I had this big guy. Talagang from the get-go, sinubukan kagad ni MJ Homo kung gaano katiba yung big man namin. So ganun siya magklase maglaro talaga, matapang.
If that shot by Arvin Gamboa becomes more consistent, man, San Juan is gonna be as dangerous as ever down the road.
Yeah. Kasi yung 3, that's one area that definitely needs work on for Gamboa. He's shooting roughly about 15% on that side of the floor. Pero everything else, the perimeter has been parang 45%, which is pretty decent. Especially if it's a non-paint too.
50 points ang lamang ng San Juan. We're down to our final 2 minutes.
Ganda.
And kita mo, kahit lamang sila, 50, ganun pa rin sila maglaro
Walang one-on-one.
Oo.
Walang ISO. And everybody just keeps on doing their stuff. Nice pass by MJ.
And, as like you said, that good pass from Homo to Benaflor. When you look at them, they're just so locked in what they're trying to do. And that's a mark of a great team.
I feel that's a mark of a great organization as
Exactly.
well. Itong San Juan Knights has really embodied the kind of culture, the kind of setup structurally for their team, which really just speaks highly of who they are. And that's why a lot of players in the MPBL, I'm sure, have that aspiration to be one day be donning the San Juan Knights jersey.
Normally, some teams, pag ganito, there's 1 or 2 players that would try something na hindi nila magawa in an actual game. And, even for San Juan, nandyan sa loob si Joseph Ubalde na seldomly used. He's not even trying to get his points.
Oh, yeah.
Alam naman natin, let's be real, na this is probably those opportunities for him to get the points. Pero, he's sticking to the system. He's not deviating from what they're trying to do. And, San Juan, as lethal as ever.
But tingnan mo nga ito, this is probably their last possession for this game, if not second to the last. They're still calling out plays. Galinato called out play number 3 and they went to their movements.
And San Juan looks like they will not take a shot anymore. Ubalde thought about it, and that's gonna do it here. San Juan with a convincing victory once again laban sa Parañaque Patriots. dealing them a 54-point beatdown here as they stay in step with the Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. And that top spot, AC Soberano continue to torch the nets for the Knights. Marquez also was a huge presence down low. Our best player in the game is brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
Dexter Marquez, 18 points on 7 of 11 shooting. He was 3 out of 4 from the line, 1 out of 1 from 3, got 7 rebounds, a couple of assists. Really just making the most of what else he can help. He didn't command for that ball. He just made the right plays out of it, and it's just been excellent. AC did well, but we got to give it to Marquez.
Another day in the office for Dexter Marquez and the San Juan Knights as they take down Parañaque here, 110-56, our final score. Let's go at courtside to Miss Gianna Lianes.
Congratulations to our best player of the game, Dexter Marquez. Dexter, sabi nga ng ating panel na kahit lumalaki yung lamang nyo, pareho pa rin yung way of play nyo. Bakit mahalaga para sa inyo na push pa rin talaga?
Gusto namin kasi malakas man o mahina or sinong kalaban, isa lang yung treat namin sa kalaban na mag-play hard lagi kami. Yun yung mga game plans namin lagi.
Dexter, paano mo naman sinisigurado na ikaw ay consistent para sa San Juan Knights?
Naglalaro lang kami as a team, tulungan kami. So, yung mga score ko, galing naman sa pasa, hindi naman mga one-on-one. So, team effort lagi kami at sa mga coaches, laging ganun yung mga gusto.
Pasalamatan mo naman lahat ng sumusuporta sa inyong koponan.
Una-una, nagpapasalamat ako kay Lord. Binabati ko yung biyanan ko, birthday niya ngayon, happy birthday. Happy anniversary sa asawa ko. Thank you kanila Senator Jingo Estrada, Boss Moching Talisayon, Boss James Go, Boss Dennis Abela, Go for Gold, Jeremy Go, 6'9 Pong Bar, Abella Industry, 1914 Athletics, DSU, Amosok, tsaka kay Pastor Ferdinand Marcos at sa mga anak ko nanonood sa bahay, tsaka mga kapatid ko, tsaka mga parents ko. Nabati ko, yun lang.
Thank you very much and congratulations to our best player of the game, Dexter Marquez of the San Juan Knights. Our best player of the game is brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. 1xBet, your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. Back to you, Ken and Coach Mike.
Maraming salamat, Gianna, and congratulations to San Juan as they up their record. Very important, especially Ambra will take on Imos in our second game, kaya manatiling nakatutok dito sa Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League, ang liga ng bawat Pilipino.